Tonight on Cronkite News, how Narcan is saving lives across the valley.
Plus, the latest on the Dragon Bravo wildfire burning in northern Arizona.
And a recent court ruling mandated revenue sharing in college sports. Stay tuned to see how this will impact players on the field. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Kobe Mitchell.
And I'm Jessica Poole. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with voters in southern Arizona who are deciding who will head to the general election to represent their party to replace the Congressman Raul Grijalva.
Cronkite News reporter Eddie McCoven joins us in the newsroom with the latest on the race.
Today's special election primary will give us the Democrat and Republican nominees for Congressional District 7. The district encompasses 6 counties along the Arizona-Mexico border from Yuma all the way to Tucson. It also includes communities right here in Maricopa County. Now, the district leans heavily Democrat, and the current frontrunner among the 5 Democrats in the race is Adelita Grijalva, the late congressman's daughter, who posted on social media earlier today that she's excited for tonight's results.
I feel good. I think that we did everything that we could do. We reached out to a ton of voters. We're moving all over the place before the polls opened, and about 2/3 of voters have already voted.
Well, trailing behind Grijalva is reproductive rights advocate Deja Fox, who, like Grijalva, is a progressive, and former state lawmaker Daniel Hernandez, who is seen as a moderate. Now, the Republicans will be choosing between 3 candidates, Daniel Gutierrez, Jimmy Rodriguez, and Jorge Rivas, all of whom are business owners. But with a district that leans so heavily Democrat, it's likely that whoever wins tonight's Democrat primary will also likely win the special general election in September. In the newsroom, Eddie McCoven, Cronkite News.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays announced this morning that she will be joining a coalition of 21 attorneys generals who are pressuring Congress to pass a law requiring ICE agents to identify themselves. In a letter to Congress, the coalition says that an ICE agent reduces transparency and accountability within law enforcement when they are masked and identifiable.
Meanwhile, Mays and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly are weighing in on President Trump's decision to slap tariffs on tomatoes. The president suspended a previous agreement with Mexico yesterday, which means 17% tariffs on any tomatoes imported into the U.S. Senator Kelly says this will cause food prices to rise in Arizona and kill thousands of warehouse and trucking jobs in our state. Mays calls the president's move a, quote, reckless trade war. About $3 billion worth of tomatoes are exported from Mexico into the U.S. each year.
A local social service group housed in a laundromat is teaching the sheltered individuals how to properly use Narcan to save each other's lives. And OzX reporting on why time is of the essence for preventing an overdose.
Every second counts during an overdose. For Leroy, it was instinct and urgency.
It was scary for me, you know, and then, you know, looking around to see what to do, and it was I had to do the right thing. I had to, you know, save this man's life by any means necessary.
Narcan, also known as naloxone, is a fast-acting nasal spray that reverses opioid overdoses. But you have to know the signs and move quickly.
They have slow breathing or they're not breathing. A breath every 5 seconds is normal. Anything slower than that should be cause for concern.
Pinpoint pupils, cold or clammy skin, or blue-tinted lips. These are all warning signs. Calvin, who's a public health trainer with Social Spin, says anyone can learn to spot them.
If they're making choking sounds, gurgling sounds, we talked about this a little bit too with the blue nails, the blue lips. That can show up differently depending on skin color type.
Experts say access to Narcan and the knowledge to use it can turn bystanders into lifesavers. That's why teaching this population is so important.
So I got the Narcan and sprayed it in his nostril, and 2 or 3 minutes later, he was back in there. Wow.
Proving it's not always about professionals that make the difference. It's someone who cared enough to act. In Phoenix, OzX, Cronkite News.
According to the Arizona Department of Health Services, over 3,200 opioid overdoses were reported in 2024 alone. Narcan is available at most pharmacies without a prescription, and Social Spin is offering free trainings year-round every Wednesday.
As of today, wildfires in the northern part of our state are still growing. The Dragon Bravo fire in the Grand Canyon has grown to 8,500 acres, several thousand acres more than yesterday. The fire is burning on the canyon's north rim, and there are more than 350 personnel working to fight it. The fire began as a controlled burn, but high winds helped it spread out of control. Governor Katie Hobbs has called for an investigation into the fire.
And the White Sage fire, burning about 30 miles north, continues to grow. At last check, the fire had spread to nearly 52,000 acres. Officials say it started after a lightning strike, and so far, it's 0% contained.
Now, if you haven't traveled in a while, listen up.
That's because of a huge step for everyone who plans to travel through airports this summer.
You can already see the process much faster. This is our second airport in the last week, and it's all been just smooth sailing.
Coming up after the break, the TSA change that is speeding up security.
Plus, a cool down and a chance of rain are in our forecast. What to expect for the rest of the week when we return.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
You meet so many new people who are on different communities, and when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely surprised me, the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there. In that moment, you know that you've reached them.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. And if you are planning to fly out of Sky Harbor International soon, well, your airport routine has gotten a little easier.
Yes, the Department of Homeland Security and TSA will now allow travelers to keep their shoes on through screening.
Cronkite News reporter Brandon Cadiz is at the airport and to tell you what about TSA's new policy.
After nearly 2 decades of passengers kicking off their shoes at airport security, they are keeping them on now, thanks to TSA's new no shoes off policy. The change aims to make security lines move faster and the process less stressful. One traveler who has flown multiple times since the new policy says these changes have already made an impact.
We travel a couple times a year, and then already you can already see the process much faster. This is our second airport in the last week, and it's all been just smooth sailing.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said she expected the new rule to be popular among travelers.
With this no shoes policy, we anticipate that Americans and travelers and those coming into our country will be very excited that they will no longer have to remove their shoes.
The original shoes off law started in 2006. Now TSA says technological improvements, including advanced scanners, mean shoe bins are a thing of the past. Travelers we talked to say they still feel safe without having their shoes checked.
With the new body scans and all of the stuff that's been introduced, I do feel a lot more safe.
Secretary Noem did say that there still may be instances where travelers would have to take off their shoes if extra security measures or screening is needed. But for the most part, all of those old rules are ancient history. Reporting at Phoenix Sky Harbor, Brandon Cadiz, Cronkite News.
Now, Kobe, this may not be the week to escape the Arizona heat, as the summer monsoon helps to cool things down.
Damian Gocher joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center on what we can expect.
Good evening, and here's a look at tonight's weather forecast. And as the rain dies down, we see temperatures finally hit the double digits at around 8 p.m. And the clouds will continue to roll out, and the rain will continue to leave the valley, but it's not going to be gone all the way. At around 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we see rain sitting in the northeastern part of our state, but the valley is not just done yet. We see as the night progressive, and around Thursday at midnight, we see chances of rain hit the valley once more. And that is going to affect our lows. We still see a nice warm western side of our state, 88 in Lake Havasu, 84 in Quartzsite. But up north, we see 53 degrees in the Grand Canyon, 54 in Flagstaff, 84 in Phoenix. And we see 75 in Tucson, 68 in Tombstone. But not only does this affect our lows, it also affects our highs. We still have that hot western side, 105 in the Lake Havasu City, 103 in Quartzsite. But up north, look, we see 78 in the Grand Canyon, 73 in Flagstaff, 96 in Phoenix. We finally have a double-digit day. 88 in Tucson, 81 in Tombstone. And here's a look at the rest of our week. We're getting showers on Wednesday and Thursday, but unfortunately on Friday we see the chances hit 0 and the temperatures increase to slightly above average for Saturday and Sunday. But around the middle of the week, on Tuesday, we see our chances for rain increase once more. I'm Damian Gocher at the Cronkite Weather Center. Back to you.
Taking a look across the nation, it may be dry here, but heavy rain is wreaking havoc in New Jersey, flooding many roads and homes. But the forecast is not looking good. Flood watches are in effect for many parts of the mid-Atlantic through Thursday.
And further north, smoke from a massive wildfire has moved into Toronto, prompting an air quality warning. At one point yesterday, the air quality was so bad, it was ranked as second worst in the world. Conditions, though, are finally improving. Coming up next in the Cronkite Sports Report, we'll take you over to the pitch and see the big hits, rucks of the rugby community throughout Arizona.
But not just any community, Kobe. It's a society of strong women joining the sport. Women of all backgrounds are joining rugby clubs throughout Arizona. We'll find out the reasons why these women are flooding into the pitch after this.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
You meet so many new people who are on different communities. And when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely surprised me, the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Lindsay Dean. The recent House vs. NCAA ruling went into effect July 1st with revenue sharing that is reshaping college sports for schools across the country. But how exactly is this all going to work? Patrick Renaud is at the touchscreen to discuss some of the ways schools are going about it.
On July 1st, revenue sharing began in college sports as a result of the House v. NCAA settlement, allowing schools to spend up to 22% of their average athletics revenue. Now, most Power 4 schools are going to have a cap of around $20.5 million, but that number is expected to increase by about 4% each year with a reevaluation period every 3 years. Meanwhile, conferences like the Big East, a mainly basketball conference, will not have the same $20.5 million that others do, but they will hover anywhere from $7 million to $12 million, with most of that going to men's basketball. Now, the expected distribution amongst Power 4 schools is 75% to football, 15% to men's basketball, 5% to women's basketball, and 5% to other sports. So now, how are schools planning to fund this revenue share? Well, they'll have to cut costs or increase revenue. The University of Tennessee has implemented a 10% talent fee for single game tickets, in-season tickets as well, and an average increase of 4.5% on all football tickets. Additionally, Clemson, South Carolina, and Virginia Tech are amongst some of the schools who implemented a fee into student tuition in order to drive in more money for this model. However, schools that earn at least $50 million in revenue are not able to use student fees to support athletics. So now, what is being cut? Well, it's actually benefits for the athletes. Alston payments, which are financial awards to help with academic expenses, such as tuition, fees, books, and other course materials, will likely be eliminated. Meal offerings in the facility will be reevaluated, with one Power Conference administrator saying, if a player is making $500,000 a year, why am I still paying for 3 meals a day? So now, with all of this revenue sharing, NIL is not going away, but instead will be much more strict. All third-party deals over $600 must be submitted to the NIL Go clearinghouse to be evaluated. Deals must be considered a valid business purpose and within a reasonable range of compensation. Now, the coaches we spoke to at Big 12 Media Days believe this new revenue share model will still give the schools with the most money the biggest advantage. We can only wait and see what happens in this first year. At the touchscreen, Patrick Renaud, Cronkite News.
ASU football coach Kenny Dillingham is getting even more national attention. The Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Foundation dropped its preseason watch list for the 2025 Dodd Trophy. And guess who's on it? Dillingham is one of just 26 coaches in the entire country being highlighted. And it's no surprise. He's coming off a historic season that saw Arizona State go 11-3, win the Big 12 championship, compete in the Peach Bowl, and earn the 4th seed bye in the college football playoff. Oh, and he was named Big 12 Coach of the Year. When it comes to his coaching philosophy, Dillingham says X's and O's are important, but it's the people that matter most.
I think football is actually easy to coach. The hard part is the dynamics of the people, is being able to manage your room. You know, I could teach anybody how to coach, how to teach a thirds back pedal and how to middle and how to make a drive call. Those are simple things. What's difficult is understanding, leading, motivating people.
The Dodd Trophy is celebrating 50 years this season. It's the second year in a row Dillingham has made the watch list. The Major League All-Star Game is finally here, and for the first time, the MLB will use the automated ball strike system for tonight's game. This technology lets the teams challenge balls and strike calls during the game. This system is already being used in the minor league and for spring training. Each team will be allowed 2 challenges at the start of the game. The pitcher, catcher, or the batter can call for a challenge. Diamondbacks' Ketel Marte will have his chance to experience the use of this technology in tonight's game. The rapid growth of women's rugby in the U.S. is fueled by league establishments, international competitions, and sisterhood. Cronkite News reporter Gabriela Salguero takes us to the rugby pitch to find out why women in Arizona are joining this intense sport.
Crouch, bind, set. This is how a scrum starts for every rugby match that's played. Rugby is known for its unique style of play, intensity, and physicality. You'd think that this sport is popular among men, but there is an entire rugby community of women thriving in Arizona.
Ever since the U.S. women's rugby team won bronze at the Olympics last year, the sport has been growing, especially here in the Valley.
We've had girls come in last fall who had seen the bronze medal match and thought that was really inspiring, and were really taken aback for rugby and wanted to give it a go.
Before the start of the 2024-2025 season, the registration count increased 64% compared to last season's registration count, which was only a 4% increase.
We actually play as a team, we play for each other, and I think that's what really kept me always coming back. And you see that when you're out there on the pitch with each other, like those are my sisters, that's my family that I play with, and that's only has what kept me in the heart in the sport.
The local teams participate in tournaments regularly, such as the Prescott Whiskey Row Sevens tournament that took place this past Saturday. Tempe, Phoenix, and Tucson all had the chance to compete against each other.
You're seeing the same kind of structure for young ladies as you are for young men. Of course, young men's much more established, and the numbers are higher there, but it's definitely established, and it's got a foothold now.
Rugby is one of the fastest growing sports for women in the U.S., and as the numbers continue to surge, more opportunities can open up for women wanting to play this sport at any level they want. In Tempe, Gabriela Salguero, Cronkite News.
Women's rugby grew so much within the last year, USA Rugby adjusted their pathway programs and started a professional women's league called the Women's Elite Rugby League. That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Lindsay Dean. Thank you for joining me. Now back to Kobe and Jessica at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up next, the Emmys released their nominations for the star-studded event.
Find out after the break. Which of your favorite shows could take home a trophy?
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
You meet so many new people who are on different communities, and when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely surprised me, the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
The nominations for the 77th Emmy Awards were announced this morning, and Jess, you might be surprised on who racked up the most votes.
Now, Apple TV's Severance dominated the nominations, racking up 27. And HBO Max, The Penguin, was just behind them with 24 nominations. The Emmys will air on September 14th.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Kobe Mitchell.
And I'm Jessica Poole. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.az.pbs.org.